I'm spending a few days in London, the capital of Great Britain, and the perfect tourist destination. I could visit hundreds of sites here, like the Tower Bridge, the Big Ben, or the London Eye, whatever. Or I could just visit some boring residential areas that are not interesting at all. Well, that's what we're gonna do today, and here's the reason why. In London, one of my most favorite TV shows of all time was filmed. Fleabag, a series by and with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It tells the story of a woman in her 30s who lost her mother, but also her best friend, and she tries to get along with it. This series is so well written that you basically have to laugh and cry at the same time, all the time. And today it's finally time to find the famous shooting locations of this amazing show. Most of the scenes shown in the series were filmed in a living area called Dartmouth Park, but some of them also were shot in the city centre of London. So let's see if we will find them, and let's see if we can also find the fox. Let's go. The first place I want to show you today is the living area, where all the characters have their houses. And the most interesting place is actually Fleabag's dad's house, but unfortunately I couldn't find it. So if you're a local and you know where Fleabag's dad's house is, please leave a comment down below and we can visit it next time. But what I found is Claire's house, and it's in the street right over there. And here it is. Ta-da! Claire's house on the right. And this house is standing, like I said, in a London district called Dartmouth Park, where most of the scenes of the series Fleabag have been filmed. And this living area is actually a quite popular one. Also, a few celebrities are living here, for example, Benedict Cumberbatch. So, of course, also the very successful Claire is living in this area. And here she finally is, Fleabag, and her lover, the teeth guy. They are walking along this street. By the way, I will call the main character Fleabag in this video. Of course, I know that she actually doesn't really have a name, or at least her name is not mentioned in the series. But since the show is called Fleabag, I will also call her like that, because it makes it much easier to talk about her. As we can see here on the scene, the area around them hasn't really changed in the past years. It's a bit greener in the series because it obviously was filmed in summer or spring. And here's Fleabag and the teeth guy hiding behind this car to surprise Claire, who doesn't like surprises, with a gift from a sex shop, if I remember that right. Yeah, that scene was filmed from over here. We can see the white facade of the house in the background, and a lot of cars are standing around here, which is also like that in reality. But I have to say, this living area is actually a really quiet one, so there are not so many cars driving around here. It's really peaceful here. And here's Fleabag visiting Claire's house. This is how it looks in reality. Of course, I cannot go upstairs because yeah, it's private property, so don't do that. To be honest, first I had a few problems to find Claire's house, because if you take a look at the scene from the show, it looks super wide. In reality, it's not like that. Only the windows are white, but the house itself is brown. But if we take a look around, yeah, the living area looks the same. And if you take a look at the house in the background on the left side, it has changed a little bit. It has some kind of an extension on the roof, meanwhile, that hasn't been there a few years ago. But yeah, that's basically the only thing that has changed in this street. This is the final scene from this place I want to show you. Fleabag is saying hello to Claire because she wants to talk to Martin to give him the stolen sculpture. That was filmed from over here. You see the tree on the right, the houses in the background. Yep, that looks exactly the same. Just a few meters away from Claire's house, we will find one of the most famous filming locations of the series Fleabag, which is of course the Guinea Pig Cafe. Unfortunately, from the inside, this cafe doesn't look like in the series, but the building is still here. And here it is, the famous Guinea Pig Cafe, you know, from the series Fleabag, which is in reality a Turkish restaurant. If you take a look at the facade, meanwhile, it's purple. In the past, it has been white, but everything else around the restaurant still is the same. If you take a look at the right, there is still this shop that you can also see in the series Fleabag. And if you take a look at the left, there is still this abandoned shop or whatever that is. It's still here in reality, and you can also see that in the series. Yeah, if you are wondering why I'm not going inside the restaurant, because it actually makes no sense at all. Nothing inside this restaurant looks like the Guinea Pig Cafe in the series Fleabag, and to be honest, I couldn't really find out how they actually shot those scenes. The first option would be that they have rented this place to film the show inside the cafe. This Turkish restaurant obviously was opened in autumn 2018, so after the show has been filmed, obviously. The second option would be that they filmed all those scenes in a studio, which is also possible. But yeah, to be honest, I couldn't find out what they actually did. And here's Claire sitting in front of the Guinea Pig Cafe on Chatty Wednesday. That was filmed from over here. You can see the shopping street in the background, which you can also see here in reality. Not much has changed here. Here's Fleabag and the guy from the bank in front of the cafe. That was filmed from over here. Also here we can see the shopping street in the background and also the quite funny shop on the right, which has a pink facade. Oh my god. Yeah, it's still here. Here's the scene from another perspective. Fleabag is talking to the bank guy. That was filmed from over here. We can see the house number 37 in the background, and yeah, not much has changed. Here's a scene from inside the cafe. I'm still not sure if this has been filmed in a studio or in the real cafe, but definitely you can see this building through the windows. It looks a bit different. Meanwhile, it's green. In the past, it had obviously green doors or something, but a white facade. This has changed. Meanwhile, the whole building is green. It's a pub, obviously. Fleabag is talking to Claire in front of this abandoned living house or shop. I don't know what happened here, but obviously this house is abandoned for a few years now, because you can also see that in the series. And here's the scene from another perspective. We can see the abandoned house in the background, and there is another restaurant right next to it, an Indian restaurant. So Fleabag definitely had a few competitors in this street, a pub, an Indian restaurant, and all those right beside the Guinea Pig Cafe. You might remember the scene when our main character walks along a street in her living area. She's feeling super cute and sexy today, and then she gets insulted by a random stranger on the street. This scene was filmed right next to a barber shop, and I found it. It's in the street right over there. And this is the scene I'm talking about. Fleabag and her boyfriend Harry just broke up, so she's ready to date again, and she walks along this street. On the left side we can see the barber's shop, which obviously has a new design. Meanwhile, it looks quite funny, to be honest. It looks like a Swedish candy shop or something, not like a barber shop. Then there is a house right next to the barber shop. There are some construction works going on right now, obviously. And then if you take a look at the right, there is a wall that you cannot really see in the series because of the trees, but this wall also plays a quite important role in the series Fleabag. If you remember the dog scene, Fleabag is walking along this wall, and then she takes a look at a dog and she feels a bit overwhelmed, and then she says, "No, I can't go out with the dog." Yeah, that was filmed from over there, and to be honest, I didn't even notice that this is actually a scene from Fleabag while I was there. I even filmed my introduction in front of this wall without knowing that this is actually the famous wall from the show Fleabag. Here's the scene from another perspective, and of course, there is a red London bus driving around here, like in the series. And if you take a look at the house in the background, yeah, that still looks the same. Here's Fleabag breaking the fourth wall once again. That was filmed from over here, and as you can see, not much has changed here. There are a lot of cars parking right next to the street. They didn't change anything, obviously, for this scene. Fleabag talking to the camera. On the right side we can see the barber shop, and in the background we can see a church. This is, by the way, not the church where the hot priest lives and works. No, we will get back to that later. Here's the scene when she sees the rude guy the very first time. That was filmed from over here. The shop on the left side, by the way, is a motorcycle shop or something like that. And then Fleabag almost got hit by a bicycle, just like her friend Boo, and that was filmed from over here. We can see the motorcycle shop on the right, we can see the church in the background, and we can also see the street on the left. Not much has changed here. If you are a huge Fleabag fan like I am, you might remember the Sexybition scene. The Sexybition itself was filmed in a museum called Tate Modern, which is a few kilometers into that direction. But after the Sexybition scene, Fleabag and her boyfriend are meeting right at this place in front of the beautiful London skyline, and then he leaves her, which is quite sad. Well, and as you might have noticed, meanwhile, we obviously have left Dartmouth Park. This is the city centre of London, which consists of hundreds of skyscrapers, and even more skyscrapers are being built. If you take a look at the right, there is a huge building that hasn't been there a few years ago when the series was filmed. This building is called One Blackfriars. It's 170 meters high, and there are a lot of companies in there, but also flats and also a hotel. So if you want to spend a very expensive night in London, you could do that in this building. But if you take a look at the background, obviously this is not the only building that has been built within the past few years. Also in the background you can see, yep, there are a few buildings that haven't been here a few years ago. Here's Fleabag and her boyfriend breaking up. In the background you can see the tower, the round tower of St. Paul's Cathedral. This building is also shown in other scenes of the series Fleabag. We will visit one in a few minutes, so be patient. Here's the scene from another perspective. In the background you can see the huge skyscraper, but also the Oxo Tower, which used to be a power plant in the past. One last kiss. Fleabag and her boyfriend are saying goodbye in front of the beautiful London skyline in all its glory. The next place on the list is Finsbury. That is the place where the main character drops the award of her sister Claire, and then she runs out of the building and tries to get a new one. All that happens in a very luxurious building and outside a very luxurious building, which is the building right behind me. And this is the scene I'm talking about. Sorry for the shaky camera. It was really stormy and rainy that day. The scenes inside, or at least outside, the scene were filmed at Pinsent Masons, as you can see here. This is a commercial law firm. And in the series Fleabag, it was the building where the award show of Fleabag's sister Claire was held, and where Fleabag breaks the statue. Fleabag runs out of the building, and once again, she sees a very good looking guy. That was filmed from over here. Fortunately, while the series was filmed, the weather was much better than today. And then in the next scene, finally, we can see St. Paul's Cathedral again, which in reality, by the way, is like 1 mile away from the office building of Pinsent Masons. So if you take a walk, you need like 22 minutes to get from the office building to St. Paul's Cathedral. So Fleabag definitely ran a very long way, and she actually could have been faster if she just took the bus or a taxi or whatever. And also, this scene right here actually makes no sense at all in reality, because Fleabag is coming from the left here. In the series, Fleabag is coming from that direction from St. Paul's Cathedral. Then she turns left. We can do exactly the same. Let me show you. And then if we take a look around the corner, we will see the gate from the other scene. And then Fleabag is coming from the left again, which absolutely makes no sense at all. Well, and after I revealed this great trick, I went with a bus to Kensal Green Cemetery, the cemetery you all know from the series Fleabag, where Fleabag is jogging and where she meets her sister Claire at the grave of her mother. I went there for like 40 minutes with the bus just to see that the cemetery is closed because of the storm. So, sorry for that, I cannot show you the cemetery this time, maybe next time, we will see. Okay, if we cannot visit the cemetery, we can at least visit a church. This one right here. This is St. Andrew's Church in Kingsbury, also known as the church where the hot priest works and lives, and the last place I want to show you today. And here it is, the church in all its glory, which plays a quite important role in the second season of Fleabag. For example, in this scene. The priest has a feast, Fleabag is visiting it, and also Martin and creepy Jake, his son, they are standing in front of a building with a round roof, which belongs to the church, which is in reality the nursery church hall, obviously. There are a lot of cars parking here. Here's Martin and creepy Jake and Fleabag. They're standing in front of those bushes right here. What they don't tell you in the series is that behind those bushes there is actually a cemetery. You cannot see that in the series. Here's Harry, who has a child, meanwhile, and Fleabag is a little bit shocked. That was filmed from over here. You can see the church on the right side, which hasn't changed at all. And on the left side, in reality, we can see a living area, which you cannot see in the series. This scene was filmed from over here. Fleabag is walking along this footpath, and obviously they removed the sign for the series, or it hasn't been there a few years ago. That says church hall and nursery that way. Yeah, and then the hot priest is coming and Fleabag is turning around and she says, "Yes, father." Here's the scene from another perspective that was filmed from over here. They changed the flowers at the door, but everything else still looks the same like a few years ago. And here we see the church once again in all its glory. The place right in front of the church is actually a parking space. You cannot see that in the series. It's absolutely car-free. Yeah, but the building itself hasn't changed at all. Unfortunately, we cannot visit the inside of the church because it's not only locked, it also has no door handle. Here we are, back in the hotel once again. That was my Fleabag filming location tour in London. And of course, there are many more shooting locations of this series here in London, which I couldn't visit in just one day. For example, I also found the Headsore House, which is the castle-like building where Fleabag and Claire have their silent retreat. Unfortunately, it's quite far away from here, so I couldn't visit it today. And I also found the bus stop, the final scene of season 2, where Fleabag sees the fox and walks away. Unfortunately, this place is not in London, it's in Hampton, and also the bus station in reality doesn't really exist, so I skipped this place. But yeah, if you like this video, please leave a comment down below. Maybe we will visit those places the next time I'm in London. We'll see. Also, leave a comment if you're a local and know some more Fleabag filming locations. For example, Fleabag's dad's house. That would be very interesting. But yeah, that's it for today. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. You can also hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss any upcoming video. And if you'd like to support me and my work, then please check out the Patreon link in the description, or you can become a channel member on my YouTube channel. Then you will get exclusive stuff and new videos before everyone else. That's it for today. Have a safe journey and see you next time.